Morning, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We have a very busy day. I definitely can't record all my service calls, but figured I would get you guys a little sneak peek at one of my no heats today. We got a 3-year-old train that is not igniting. It's an error code for it being in lockout, so we're gonna go see what it is. But in the meantime, on my drive, I wanted to tell you guys a little quick story. There's a company in our area that is bought out by a bigger company. So let's just say they have sales technicians, and trust me, their actual technicians are not very knowledgeable. They just write up giant lists of things to replace that always coincidentally add up to the same cost as a new system. I got to this one where they said that CO levels are high on this furnace. It's a Carrier, so it does happen, and it's a bad heat exchanger. What they didn't know is that I was there a year before and I replaced the gas valve. And that's the key part to the story. So I got there and I checked the carbon monoxide levels. It was around 200 parts per million, and I was getting the same as they were. I was like, okay. But part of this is that you have to check your gas pressure. So I checked the gas pressure. It was at 4 inches per water column. 4! The max that it should be at is 3.5. Again, I was the technician that replaced that gas valve a year ago. Less than a year, probably. And I recorded it. Low fire was at 1.7 and high fire was 3.5. So it looked like that they're seeing that we're catching on to them for taking fake pictures of heat exchangers and scaring customers, and they know that we do combustion tests and all that. So they're now resorting to jacking up gas pressures to get false readings and to scare customers that way, because they put the red tag on it. They shut down the gas, they shut down the power and everything. They tell the customer that's going to blow up. Jeez Louise, we've been dealing with these people for years. I've talked to other companies. They've seen the same crap from this company. So my advice to every customer, if I have any customers watching or anything like that, is to, when you look at a company, go to their Google reviews and look at their lowest reviews. Now, every company is going to have some bad reviews, but what you're looking for is trends, some consistency. Now, if you look at this company's bad Google reviews, you'll constantly see that this company scared me, saying that my heat exchanger was cracked, and you just see it over and over again. Over and over again. Heat exchanger, heat exchanger, heat exchanger. And that's a big red flag. The funny part is that we also are a contractor for an insurance company in the area, and that insurance company stopped using this company because of the fraudulent claims. Now, what this company will say about us is say, oh, be careful. They like to help the insurance and try not to get anything covered to screw you over. Really, I don't give a flying about insurance companies. I hate insurance companies. I just go in, do my job. If they approve it, great. If they don't approve it, they're gonna do just as good of a job. Should have an error code. E2.1. E2.1 retry, exceeded, failed to establish flame. So we're going to have to reset the furnace, but the first thing I'm noticing is a lot of moisture staining everywhere. And we see a lot of rust up here. Really common issue, especially with these Trane S9B2s, is that humidity, especially in our state, travels through the intake and it gets all over. I've probably seen this at least like 3 dozen times. It's ridiculous. So that's why now when we install these, and Trane has recognized this, so they replaced this where you can actually attach a hose to come down so that it catches the water instead of it coming down to the burners. In the past, I've installed Y traps if it's more horizontal. I've installed a coupling with a hose, which is what I carry on the van, which is what we're likely going to put on. And I made a video of that before, but let's reset it. We got inducer motor operation. And the next step should be waiting for the igniter. There it is. And let's see what happens when it tries to turn on the gas valve. I put my hand on it to make sure it opens, and nothing. I didn't feel anything in the gas valve. Gas valves are also very sensitive to moisture, and there's obvious signs of water staining on it. So let's troubleshoot this to make sure we got voltage and see what we got gas for coming in and out. Let's first make sure that we actually have incoming gas. So yeah, we got plenty of gas coming in inside the house. Turn that back off, and we're gonna put it on the other side. Gotta make sure we close this. Let's make sure that we're actually getting power to the gas valve from the control board, and to see if it even opens at all. For me, just putting my hand on it, I already know what the issue is, but I'm just showing you guys for video's sake how to properly troubleshoot this. And it's always good to verify your diagnostics. Click, 27 volts, and we got 0 gas coming out. Gas valve is stuck and not opening. And sometimes if you're desperate and if you don't have the gas valve, you can always bang on it. Sometimes it'll open. Let's replace this gas valve then. Okay, first let's find our gas valve. Ah, perfecto. This is my PVC cut. So I'll just throw that in there. I can just take this on the job with me. That's interesting. Just install unions upside down. Good job, guys. Whatever. There we go. This joint here might be easier for our Knipex pliers to grab onto. There we go. Voila. Damn gorilla. That was very unnecessary. Usually they're not even that close to being that tight. But oh well. We'll get it no matter what. That looks right. Went a little crazy on the pipe up there. Whoops. Still gotta do the ground wires, put the burners in and all that, but I'm just gonna get lined up first. I think I got the level enough to reach here for this T now. Alright, put all this back together, clean up the Smurf a little bit, and then do a leak test on all the joints, and then we'll move on to installing this coupling. Just like per manufacturer instructions, we're going to install our coupling on the vertical part, run the vinyl tubing down, going to do a little pigtail loop here as our trap, and then run it down to the drain here. I'll leave a link down in the description of me further explaining this issue and the specific what Trane recommends to do exactly, in case if you guys are curious. Obviously, it's not the most pretty thing in the world, but it works really well. Again, Trane now has this gray base that basically has this piece, so you can run the vinyl tubing down. It's actually a really good length, but as you can see here, just kind of make a little pigtail loop there, and voila. And this isn't a very aggressive bend, so we don't need to put an elbow, but just be cautious of this because this can kink over time, but this is a tame curve, so it should be okay. I'm gonna move that there, and I'm gonna pretty much do the same thing. I'll go grab a 90 here, that way it can go down this hole and not pop out at any point or kink. Haven't found any leaks. The gas has been on for about 15 minutes now. Still haven't smelled anything, which is a good sign. Alright, got my 90. Actually, what I also like to do, since this tends to be ugly, you know, try to make it look as best as possible. I like to put a zip tie here. There we go. Kind of had to do that blind, but now it won't, you know, come forward. Let's fire this thing up and test run it in first stage and adjust the gas pressure accordingly. Voila, we have light. See, I sometimes know what I'm doing. 1.94, that's a little excessive. Low fire is good. Now let's test it at high fire. Alright, got everything dialed in. Obviously could use a cleaning, but I have a lot of no heats to get to, so if she wants us to come back to do maintenance and a cleaning, we'll definitely do that. Well, that concludes our service call. Let me know if you guys have experienced that. It'll probably depend on your area, state to state. If you're a more dry climate, you probably won't experience this as much, but it's very, very common in our area. Not just with Trane, but pretty much any furnace where you end up having to install the intake on top of the furnace. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for taking along. I'll see you guys in the next call.